All right, everybody. It is a Tuesday evening, and you know what that means. Even though I don't have the hat, all you got to have is bald head here. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, www.welikesportspc.com proudly presents to you its podcast tag team champions of the world, the Cleat Geek, Mike Valentine, and my buddy Cheese. And we are the 6, 4, 3 and out guys. And you're listening to the Sportz Truth. All right, Cheese, how have you been, bud?
I have been well. It has been well. Mike, you have been busy. You got your Locked On Diamondbacks channel. It's doing amazing. I keep watching the videos. People love it. So you are so busy these days.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're not doing anything yourself. You got your own podcast over there. You got your website that you're writing for. What is that website, sir?
PackersTalk.com.
All right, so PackersTalk.com.
Packers with an S, PackersTalk.com. I recently started writing for them. I do an article or two a week, and my latest article was published yesterday. So check those out, and if you're a Packer fan.
Right, and if you don't know, it is... All right. Gadgets now, playing with gadgets now. All right, so let's go ahead and do the walk-up music, and then we got a special thing that not even Cheese knows is coming. We're going to do the first football 5 here in just a second. But first, let's walk up.
Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, here we go, and it's going to be a jam-packed show. Can't wait to do this intro thing. I don't know, we kind of sort of matched. I didn't get the memo exactly, but it's sort of red day on the show today. So Cheese's shirt and mine, we got her all going here. We are going to focus today on a lot of things, and one of them would be the Chicago Bears. Go Bears. We're going to look at a lot of stuff with them today. We're going to look at a little bit of fantasy stuff, but I asked Cheese earlier, can we do a fantasy football show? And he says no. We'll tell you why here in just a little bit. So we're also going to look at a rant by Rich Rodriguez, and then we're going to comment on it here shortly. So we got all that stuff going on in the land of football. I let Cheese do something crazy this week because I never relinquish control. But this week, Cheese has the ability to do the college football segment this week. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
What were you thinking?
We're just crossing our fingers here.
What were you thinking, Mike?
I don't know. I was thinking I'm really busy, so I let you do a segment. That's what I was thinking. Oh, man. So we're also going to do a bunch of trade deadline stuff, but follow up with everything. The other thing that we are going to really focus on in baseball is who is the best second place team in the AL. What about the Yankees? And we got a thing from Bob Nightingale as well, plus the college football stuff. And like I said, Cheese got to do that one this week, so we'll let him do that here in just a moment. But first, let me move around everything that I need to move around, get everything situated and set. I also need to talk about our Truth Top 10. We'll conclude the show with that, and that will be, now that the trade deadline is done, we're going to re-rank the top 10 teams in MLB as far as who is going to go to the World Series. Now that they've traded and they've set their rosters and everything else, it should be an interesting time. All right, before we get into the big one, let's do this one.
We're winning. We're winning.
Okay. Okay. Trickle down. Okay, that was another president. Trickle down was another president.
We're winning. Okay.
I know. They're asking me about the hat. I'm sorry. The battery was dead. I got to replace the battery. I apologize. I know I'm letting everybody down.
Daniel, he wore that to bed. He wore it 24/7. That's why the battery ran out.
Right.
He did not stop wearing the hat.
I wouldn't stop wearing it, and I had to have the "We Are Live" going the entire time, and then it's the battery. Yeah, excuses. I know. I don't know what to say. Those are my excuses for the day, buddy. That's all I got today. So, calm down. Calm. In the words of Aaron Rodgers, relax. Just relax. I will get the hat back and running. So I at least know you all appreciate the hat. I mean, you might not appreciate me, but at least you appreciate the hat. So, all right. Oh man, let's go and let's get a little bit here. We gotta let's get some music in the background for Cheese. All right, so let's see here. What do we want to? Oh yeah, let's put some blues in the background for my good buddy Cheese, and we are going to do for the first time the first 5 football on fire. So. An unusual thing, we'll have a little clock up here. Myself and my good buddy Ricky Logan are working on this clock that we'll have. We were rushing through this. I was already behind and everything else was happening, so we didn't get to do the clock. But I promise you, each and every one of you, next week we'll have the little clock in the corner, and it'll be counting down from 5 minutes. It'll have these pretty little flames in the background and everything, and we'll get it all situated here. Oh, we got all these comments coming up. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah, okay. Right. And then one more. All right. Now, no more comments for a second. Calm down, everybody. I got to go over here to I can only do so many things at once. All right. I'm producer and everything else here. Cheese doesn't do nothing but just sit there and look pretty. And sometimes that's kind of debatable. Yeah. But
not that pretty,
well,
handsome maybe, but yeah.
Handsome. Okay. I don't know. I think you look kind of purty myself. All right. You. So, okay. We'll put some music in the background here. All right. And we will ask Cheese these 5 fast fire football questions. Here they go. See if you can get it within 5 minutes. Ready, Cheese?
I can't guarantee you 5 minutes, but go ahead.
No, I'm sure you can, sir. All right, so the clock is starting now. If the Bengals had Andy Reid, would they be a Super Bowl contender?
Good question right off the bat.
I know, starting you off hard, aren't we?
Andy Reid is a good play designer. He's really good at preparation. Mm-hmm. But I would probably say no. Because I don't think Zach Taylor's, I think he gets a lot of flack, but they don't have a good defense. They have terrible ownership. They're just a mess. So I don't think it would be that much different.
Okay, so let's go with question number 2.
Okay.
Are the playoff teams in the NFL or the college football playoff teams more predictable right now?
Oh, college football is so predictable. It's so predictable. I knew Ohio State, once the seeding was out, I predicted Ohio State was going to win it all. And I realized that the top 4 seeds, 3 weeks off not playing, were in trouble. I thought one of them win. I actually predicted only one of them to win. They all lost. So 5 through 8 seeds, very predictable. And Ohio State had the most talent. They obviously lost a couple games they shouldn't have. Definitely should have beaten Michigan. But no, college football, at least this past year. It's going to be much harder this year, but this past year, much easier to predict.
I can't wait to put this clock on the screen because you're never going to make it put the 5 minutes here. So this is going to be interesting to see how we're going to do this next week. So number 3, will the Cleveland Browns be able to turn one of their quarterbacks into a draft pick?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to just make you go on. Are the Buccaneers making a mistake by signing Teddy Bridgewater?
I don't think so. Obviously, he was, I guess, suspended by the high school team for paying for meals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure why they signed him because I read that he's going to be the third string quarterback, not even the backup. So I'm not sure why they signed him. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I wouldn't say it's like a mistake. It's not a PR mistake, but I'm a little surprised, but it's not a mistake.
All right, and I had to throw a Packers one in here. So the 5th one is going to be Packers related. Once again, since we're not putting you on a clock or anything this time, this is your freebie, all right?
Okay.
What is the Packers website that you're writing for again? So we can plug that real quick.
It is PackersTalk.com, Packers with an S, PackersTalk.com. And I write a weekly article, and my articles are not game recaps. They're not who's playing well. I look for new trends. I look for things that no one else is writing about. So,
correct. Now you wrote something about 5, right? There was 5 something or others that you wrote about this week. What was it?
Everyone can predict who might be the big breakout player for any team. A guy that was injured the year before, or was behind someone.
Gonna have to give you a 10-minute timer, but go ahead.
I think 20 is probably good for me, but no, anyone can be behind, a veteran or be injured the year before. A veteran, then they leave him for agency until you can figure out the breakout players. I found 5 guys that I think have a good chance to be the breakout player for the Packers that no one's talking about.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So let me give you this question. What is your level of concern for Packers cornerback Nate Hobbs, who had to have knee surgery today?
It's concerning because they released Jair Alexander, who's the number 1 corner. He had injury issues. Nate Hobbs was one of their big free agent signings, but he has missed 16 games the last 3 seasons. So not as many as Jair Alexander, but he has missed a lot of games, and they need him to be the guy. He's versatile. He can play outside. He can play inside, and they're counting on him to be, I don't know if they're number 1 corner, but 1 or 2. And I read that he may be ready for opening day. So it's concerning because it's already the weakness of the team, corner. So they need him.
Gotcha. All right. So there we are. That is the we'll work on the title here. I know it's going to have flame and 5, and I don't know. I think next week I'm going to give the fans a 5-minute head start. So 5 minutes before we go on the air, because it's all going to be a 5-minute thing if Cheese can make it. I don't know. We'll have to have some kind of, maybe we'll set them on. Oh, that's what we'll do. We'll set you on fire if you can't make it. And that will be great podcast TV right there.
How about we don't do that? But I like your enthusiasm.
Okay. You're just no fun at all, buddy. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Not at all.
Okay. So we're going to be doing the Sportz Truth top 10 here in just a moment. So the Truth top 10, we'll be doing that here shortly. We're going to be doing MLB 4-pitch talk, and we will also be doing the let's see, what is the other one that we do? The NFL deal, right? The NFL 4-down territory. That's what it's called. So we'll be doing all of that as well. But Cheese, my man, he got to do the college football. So we're going to start off with you.
Okay.
What do you want to be number 1 at? I mean, I can tell you a few things you're number 1 at, but it's a family show, so I probably can't.
So let's talk college football. I love college football.
Let's do it before this thing goes completely off the rails. I mean, I know he just passed away, but we're gonna do a crazy train right here on the show, and it's gonna be bad. So let's steer us back on track, sir.
We always go off the rails at some point.
Yeah,
but one thing I like about this podcast is We talk college football. Most don't. Most football podcasts don't even talk about it, and I love college football. So Clemson is playing LSU. Everyone's talking about Texas, Ohio State, but Clemson LSU is a humongous game on August 30th. Clemson returns 16 starters, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. Clemson was in the college football playoff last year, by the way. A lot of people just kind of forget that. So they're tied for the most with Arizona State. They only had 3 players drafted, none until day 3, and they were a linebacker, safety, and running back, so not premium positions. LSU is only returning 7 starters, and they had 7 players drafted, but 4 offensive linemen. Almost their entire offensive line is gone. 2 edge rushers, so both starting edge rushers, and a tight end. That's Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son. So they also had a lot of players leave via transfer portal. That we can talk about the NIL another time, but how many teams LSU's bringing people in, they're letting people go. My question for you is, how important do you think this is, bringing back a lot more starters the way Clemson has?
Well, I mean, obviously it's more important. They already know the system. I mean, the coach is the same, the players are the same, the system is more than likely the same. So, everybody's going to be stronger as far as that part goes. And, I heard today somebody saying that Clemson was going to be the first team to go undefeated in this new college football format if they can get past LSU, which I can also see that because, the conference that they're in is not fantastic. So we'll see how all that works out. So yes, we are going to get all aboard on this one, buddy. The college football train is what we're doing right now. So it's very important. And it's also a little concerning for LSU, is it not? I mean, just 7 starters for them, and they had a lot of players leave. So especially here in this first game, I think it's going to be interesting to see if they can do what we all kind of know Clemson can do, which is can they be all on the same page, and can they get everything done that they need to do in order to beat even though it's in a weak conference, it's still a good Clemson team. So there's really some good intrigue in this game. That's why I wanted to talk about not only the Ohio State-Texas game, but this game week 1 as well, buddy.
Yeah, typically when you have few starters returning, it takes a while to gel, especially offensive line. So I think LSU may be better as the season goes on, but it could be really tough early on. And the opposite for Clemson, the continuity, 16 starters back. And you mentioned Clemson, the ACC. They don't even play Miami. Their schedule. So their schedule is really great. They play Florida State. What a disaster that was last year. Florida State's probably the most disappointing season I've ever seen in college football last year. They were terrible. So Clemson's schedule, if they beat LSU, they're going to be heavily favored in every game. So,
well, let me interrupt you for just a second, buddy. So, but before you go on, so if they're heavily favored like that in every game, does that work for Clemson because their schedule is so easy, or does that work against Clemson because the rest of their schedule is so easy?
It could hurt them in the playoff because they haven't faced enough good competition.
Mm-hmm.
The game to probably watch is South Carolina late in the year, obviously rivalry. They lost that game this past year, and Lenore Sellers is a great quarterback for South Carolina. So that's the game to watch. That might be the only game that they might not be heavily favored in. I'm not sure exactly how good South Carolina will be. SEC is really tough. But they might go into that game facing a team so talented they haven't faced since LSU. They face all these weak teams going into it, so it could hurt them.
Sir, you're always number 1 in my heart. Don't worry about the comments, sir. All right, so what else you got for us as far as this LSU-Clemson matchup, buddy?
Well, I think this is a quarterback matchup. So
okay,
both teams return their starters. Cabe Klubnik is the Clemson starter, and Garrett Nussmeier is the LSU starter. Let's talk about Cabe Klubnik. That name.
Yeah, you're pronouncing that name and not me.
Yeah, me and names. He had a really good year last year, but in their 4 losses, he threw 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. In their 10 wins, 32 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So the knock on him is he plays well against bad competition. The big games he didn't play as well. That's the big knock on him. Let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier. He was horrible against Texas A&M and Alabama, 2 back-to-back losses in the middle of the season. I don't know if you remember, but once Cam Ward broke out, there was Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders were the 2 quarterbacks for the draft. But who was the third? And all these draft analysts were saying Garrett Nussmeier is the third until those games. And then he fell off a cliff. He really played well at the end of the year. I'll give him that. But in the middle of the season, he was playing awful. And that's, I think, the main reason he decided to come back for next year. He could have been draft eligible. But which quarterback would you say you would rather have for the 2025 season?
Oh, well, I'm tempted just to say, I'm tempted just to go with Nussmeier because I can't pronounce the other guy's name.
Klubnik.
Klubnik?
Klubnik. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Okay. But I am going to go with Nussmeier anyway because I want the guy who's even keel. I want the guy who will perform well under pressure and not so much under pressure. I don't want the guy who's going to fold under pressure. I know I'm thinking about this a little bit more. I mean, I guess if you put him under pressure more and more, and this is going to be a topic that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit when we get to Rich Rod here. But is it pressure in sports can do several things to you, and like I said, we'll talk about that here a little bit more. But I think I'm going to go with the guy who's more even keel and who doesn't fold under the pressure, and that would be Nussmeier.
Okay. You know what? I would as well. I'm going to go with Nussmeier. Klubnik, though, he could have an amazing year because they're playing such a soft schedule. He could put up monster stats. Mm-hmm. So which Tiger program, which one of them would you bet on to win the college football playoff, Clemson or LSU? If you had to bet right now.
Well, I mean, I don't think this is much of a contest, even though, LSU has performed well in the past. I'm not sure how well they're going to perform this season, especially after you were so astute in telling us that they're only returning, I believe it was 7 starters. So, yep. That's not a great mix for success. So knowing that LSU is only returning 7 starters, knowing that Clemson is in a much weaker division, I'm going to go with Clemson.
I agree. So who wins the game in Death Valley at Clemson? Clemson's favored by 3.5, by the way.
Oh, man. So Clemson is favored by 3.5, yet it's in LSU, right? It's in
Death Valley.
Clemson. Oh, it's at Clemson. Oh.
Well, okay. How about this? How about this? The spread, 3.5. Would you take Clemson minus 3.5 or LSU plus 3.5? Because I think you're going to pick Clemson, but what about the spread?
Yeah, the spread does make it a little more challenging. I'm still going to pick Clemson.
Okay.
Yeah. I waited for my buddy back here, AE. I was waiting on him a little bit there. I saw it pop up, so that convinced me. Money line right there, right? So. We've talked a little bit about money lines on my other spot on the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. I'm getting into it a little bit, not a ton of gambling, but we're getting into it some. So if you like that sort of thing, then you can find that here and there. So we appreciate that. What about you, Cheese? Where are you going with this Clemson favored by 3.5 points in Clemson?
I'm going to give you a score.
Okay.
And we didn't talk about this before, and you can give me a score if you'd like. I'm going to go Clemson 31, LSU 26. So they cover, but barely cover. I still think LSU's got enough talent that they're going to keep it close, but I do like Clemson to cover.
Do you think LSU can score that many points? I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'll give you a score, but my score is going to be a little lower than your score would be.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick Clemson as well. The 3.5, of course, keeps it from just being the field goal. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go 28-21 and have Clemson beating LSU there at their home turf or on their home turf.
Yeah, I think the biggest question will be LSU's offensive line. When you lose 4 starters, both offensive tackles, we'll see how the new guys hold up against what should be a very good Clemson defensive line. One last question.
Sure.
Do you think there is a team as talented as the championship Ohio State Buckeyes? Because to me, Ohio State was more talented than anyone, and obviously they won it all. They had more players drafted than any team. So do you think there is a team out there as talented as Ohio State was last year?
So you're saying for me to take all of the college football teams now and compare them against the Ohio State of last year
Yes.
to tell you which one's better?
Yes.
I mean, there's no one that has that receiving core. There's no one that has that secondary. So
Pass rush.
Yeah, the pass.
rush.
Well, yeah. I kind of right.
Yeah.
You know what? Sawyer was one of the people that really got attention in the playoff game per se, but he wasn't like big time on that line or anything. And they had to block somebody, so they have to leave somebody open, and that's what the good lines do, right?
Right.
If you've got 4 or 5 of them, you can't block everybody. So, no, we've got to go with Ohio State from last year over any team that college football is going to produce this year, except maybe Ohio State again.
Well, I'll say this. I think this is going to be more of a free-for-all. I think there's just no team as good as Ohio State. Because of that, I think there's like 8 or 9, maybe 10 teams pretty close. I think it's going to be a really fun season.
I'll give you. I think the thing that I really want to watch most, and this is not a team that I'm usually interested in because I just don't like the fact that they don't have to be a part of any conference or anything like that, is Notre Dame. But the receivers they've got this year and the bloodline of receivers they have this year, we've talked about this 3 or 4 times on this show. Yeah. I can't wait to see those guys perform, or maybe not perform. I think that'll be an interesting subplot for the college football season coming up.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's what you're doing for college football, right? Nothing else for me?
That's all I got. Yeah.
Oh no, don't say that's all you got, man. That was good. So I really enjoy it. Now,
okay.
I've got a deal here. I'm not technologically advanced enough to be able to put it up on the screen and show it to everybody else. I'll have to get with my buddy Ricky Logan here. We were trying to do the fire clock countdown thing, and I don't know. It's hard to teach an old man like me how to do stuff like this. So I just didn't have it working today. So I've got it on my phone, all right, and I'm going to play you the rant that Rich Rodriguez goes on. He did this a few days ago. Actually, I believe it was Saturday. It may when this all happened. It may have been Friday, but I think it was Saturday. So I'll play you like the 5-minute or so cut. It is going to be a little long, but I think it's going to be well worth it once you hear it, and then once we get to ask the questions that follow. So here we go.
Okay.
Here's what he had to say at the podium today. I probably would agree with that. Generally, overall.
Can you hear it, Chief?
Can you turn it up a little?
Plenty of mental toughness and hard edge, whatever you want to call it. I think generally, again, I'm giving an opinion. I'm not going on a political rant or nothing like that, but I think generally we're softer as a society. We're softer as athletes. But I don't really necessarily blame anybody, because everything they're going around is like, how do we make it easier for them? Everybody can make it easy instead of making things harder for them, so they learn how to, to go through hard times. So that's what hard edge is. Hard edge, it's not a magical word you're going to wake up and have it. You're going to have, there's not one of you guys sitting in here, whatever, has not had some adversity or will have some adversity in your life. And so hopefully you have the mental hard edge, toughness to get through what you do, or have people around you do that. I think that's part of my responsibility to teach our guys this, and they got a long, successful life ahead of them. But not all is going to be strawberries and sunshine and roses and flowers. I don't know. My dad was a coal miner. He worked in a coal mine. 1 week off a year, I think. Work all day in the coal mines, and you come home, you got stuff all over you, and go work in the garden for 4 hours. And as I got older as a kid, I was a little kid, we worked in the garden a little bit. Then the older I got, the more garden we did, and the bigger the garden got. The older I got, the bigger the garden. I hated pulling weeds. I mean, I'd rather do anything than pull weeds. You ever pull weeds in a garden around beans? It's miserable, absolutely miserable. I mean, I would play every sport. I don't care. I mean, we didn't even have lacrosse, so I'd lie and say, hey, I'm going to go play lacrosse. I'm just like that. But I played every sport, so it wasn't to get out of the garden, but that was a side benefit. You know what I'm saying? But, so, I mean, the people in this state, how they work. I mean, you've seen people, whether coal miners or, anybody. I mean, it's not always easy. Our guys got it pretty good. You know what I mean? I mean, y'all been through this building? Have you seen how we eat? You seen all the services we have? They got it pretty good. They live in a fantasy world. I don't mind telling you that. We live, coaches too, because we get these benefits. We live in a fantasy world. We want for nothing. You want food, you want medical help, you want, job help, you want financial help. I mean, we got cold tubs, hot tubs. I mean, we even got our ice cream machine. We just got it yesterday. Maybe 2 days before we get it all cranked up. But damn, this stuff, I mean, it's top level stuff, man. An ice cream machine, free.
I had to get to the ice cream machine part. We had to keep going so I could hear the ice cream machine part. You said it earlier, and I 100% agree with you, man. You gotta love Rich Rod. He used to be here in Arizona. Now he's there. He left West Virginia. Now he's back in West Virginia. So it's kind of like the prodigal son has returned. But I like a lot of what he said, and I'd like to talk to you about it here as we're approaching 50 listeners with us live, and we haven't even been on the air, but like right at 30 minutes, and half of that was you and me messing around, not even talking about sports in the beginning. So do players and coaches have it way too easy in sports nowadays?
Yeah, I think so. Players, I don't want to get too philosophical, but players in general, the way society's going is anti-bullying, it's about your feelings and whatever. So the whole negative reinforcement, the Bear Bryants, out there, the disciplinarian type coaches, that's gone. You can't do that. You get fired now if you scream and yell and call you scum to try to motivate you to work harder. So it has created players that are softer than they used to be. And I understand what he's saying. And he made some great points about his background, where he came from, why he thinks, why he believes what he believes. So, yeah, I can't imagine your dad just hardly ever has time off, works so hard, probably never complained. It's a complaint. A lot of people just complain all the time. So I completely understand what he's saying.
So you answered my original question was going to be, is it acceptable to teach kids by making it harder for them? You kind of answered that. So I'm going to go a little bit different route with you here, Cheese. Let me ask you this way. If you were the parent and Rich Rodriguez came into your home and said, I want to teach your kid by making this program hard, would you be like, okay, this is the spot for me and my kid? Or would you go, I want to go somewhere else where it's easier on them? Which one would you choose?
Okay, this is a spot for me and my kid. Kick his ass. Make him a man. Let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I like Rich Rod. He never should have gone to Michigan. He wasn't a fit in Michigan. I wish he never had done that. That's kind of hurt his career because Michigan was never the expectations. Like they still, even though Harbaugh won a national title, like they still remember. They talk about how he lost to Ohio State those games, and Michigan State that muff punt or what that punt, they blew at the end. So, but no, I would be like, yeah, I'm signing he's signing his letter of intent to play for you. What about you?
All right, guys. And of course, as we all know, you can comment right now. A lot of people have been doing so far on the Sportz Truth with myself, Mike Valentine, and that is Cheese over there. We'll talk more about some of the things that he's doing here besides the Sportz Truth. He has a YouTube channel and he's writing for a website. So we'll get to all of that here in just a moment. But first, Cheese, I want to ask you, this will be interesting. Please, sir, define for me the word entitlement.
Shadur Sanders? No. Entitlement. Basically, you think you should be given things because of who you are and what your family is or what your status is. It's you just think you are above everyone else because of your circumstance.
Okay. I'm fine with that definition. But I hear myself using this word a ton. I'm not as old, or I'm much older than Cheese is over here. I'm past 50. So
much older.
Much. Yeah, listen to him over there. Much. Jeez. That's why I don't have any hair. I don't want gray hair, so I just don't have any. So, I find myself using this word a ton. You're an entitled brat, or you just think you're entitled to everything, don't you? And it seems like a lot of this newer society is entitled. And I am 100% with Rich Rod on all of this. Rich Rodriguez, a lot of people call him Rich Rod for short, but I heard this. And I was like, oh, we've got to bring this up on the Sportz Truth. I can't wait to do this. So I got one more question here. We'll kind of put this to bed, and then we'll jump into some more NFL talk here in just a second, Cheese. So is making these things harder on an athlete part of a coach's job? Now, that is what he said. He said, I believe that is part of my job. So do you think that making things harder on athletes is a part of a coach's job?
Yes, in a way, to make them a better person, to make them a better player, absolutely, in the long run. I think that's what he meant. I'm going to make it tough for them, and they'll learn discipline, they'll learn work ethic, and I'm going to make them better in the long run. I like that. I really like that speech. I'm glad you sent it to me. I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah,
we need more coaches like that, and that can only help recruiting. If I'm a dad and I see that my kid's 17, I see that, okay, you're taking a trip to West Virginia. You're taking a recruiting trip there because that's it's just really cool. I really like that speech.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I like I said, I know you said this earlier. A lot of people don't talk college football when they talk football. It's mostly NFL. But I really wanted to talk the college football today. And I'm almost going to guarantee you that on a Tuesday night, we're going to be the only show in town talking about that speech from Rich Rodriguez. But I thought it was really, really important here. We will switch now to the NFL for just a few moments, and we'll look at the Chicago Bears. So the Bears are having two of their greats who passed away earlier this year honored. There we go. Drop everything. So we're going to have it. We're going to have them honored. One on the jersey and one on the helmet. So it is Virginia Hallis McCasey.
Virginia Hallis is fine.
Okay. All right. Good. And then also, of course, Steve Mongo McMichael. I can do that one. So they're going to have both of those people honored. One of them, the patch on the uniform, will be for Virginia, and then McMichael, they're going to do a patch on the helmet. So if you want to see those, I've got those up on the at the 643 and Out pod for you to take a look at. So 3 questions about this, Cheese, and then we're actually going to have another Bears topic that I know you really want to talk about and want to dig into here. So we'll get to that one here in just a moment as well. So do patches or decals on jerseys actually make you purchase them?
No, I've never purchased a jersey because of a patch, but it's a good thing to do. You honor somebody that meant a lot to the organization. So I would not buy a jersey just because of a patch.
So even if let's say the Packers were honoring somebody that you really liked, maybe eventually when Aaron Rodgers breaks another Achilles or something, they'll honor him. Would something like that make you buy the Packers jersey, or is it just because nobody's ever honored anybody for the Packers that you really wanted to buy?
I don't think fans buy jerseys because of patches. I could be wrong. There might be a small select few.
Okay.
But I think the patches is more just about it's on TV. All the games are. We're going to honor this person. We're going to show our support, for the older generation who came before. So I think it's not about buying jerseys, it's about just showing respect for people that, like I said, built the game.
Okay. And, I don't have a problem with that. I think it can do both kind of, because I'm sure that when they do it, they're like, oh, we're gonna honor this person, but we're also hoping that it sells some jerseys for us all at the same time. So I think it's kind of.
So you look at the selfish reason. You look at the selfish reason. Oh, maybe this will help us sell more jerseys.
I mean, you can't tell me that's not at least what they're thinking in the background, right?
It's a business. It's a business.
It's still a business. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how everything looks. Yeah. So secondly, do you like it when teams honor people like this, when they decide to really pay their respects for someone and do it on a jersey or a hat or a helmet?
I do like it. And it's not just honoring the person. It's also, I think, teaching the younger generation who this is. They might say, okay, there's number 47 or whatever. They'll ask their dad or their grandpa, who was number 47? And their grandpa can sit there, tell them the story. Oh, 1970s, he was the best safety, in that decade. And the younger generation can learn, about that player. Because, most of the younger people, they don't have no clue who these people are. I still run into Packer fans that don't know who Don Hutson is. And it blows my mind. He's the best player in NFL history. But anyway, he played in the 30s and 40s. So I think it's good for the younger generation to see that and ask questions.
Okay. All right. I don't have a problem with that. I like how you're saying it. And who is the Packers guy I'm supposed to know again?
Don Hutson. He's the best player in NFL history. He was a wide receiver and a cornerback because everyone played two-way back then.
Okay.
He beat almost every team in touchdowns by himself. He was the most dominant human being that's ever played football. No one could cover him. He was insanely good. And everyone talks about Jerry Rice is the best receiver all the time. Jerry Rice isn't close to the best receiver all the time because Don Hutson exists, but no one talks about him because he played in the 30s and 40s. But he is the best, most dominant player. He's like the Babe Ruth of football. That's how dominant he was.
Wow, the Babe Ruth of football.
And my phone is blowing up since I said that. People are just blowing me up.
I can hear it in the background. Oh man. Would you rather have a patch on your jersey, or would you rather have a decal on the helmet? Which one do you think honors the person more, or which one do you personally like?
You can't take a jersey off during the game. You can take a helmet off. So I like the jersey because it's always on. Okay. What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of like the helmet. I mean, if I'm going to do it for different purposes, and I'm looking at it probably a lot different than what you're looking at it as. I mean, I'm looking at it as for a keepsake, or I'm looking at it, where I can put it into something. I mean, I know you can put a jersey and frame it and all that kind of thing, but I think I'd rather have the helmet and put it in a case and have that as a keepsake. So I kind of like the helmet idea, just because it's something that you can put on your mantle and you can cherish it for the rest of your life if that was a person that you really liked and especially on your team and all that kind of thing. So that's kind of how I was looking at it.
Okay.
So let's go to our second Bears topic, if you don't mind, sir. Caleb Williams is having a terrible camp. So we got 4 questions on this. Oh, I know. This is really killing you because, I can't remember what division the Bears are in. Maybe I can see. It's, I don't know, whatever division they're in. So, for those of you who, I wish you guys could see our chat back and forth sometimes during the week. I mean, he threw this over to me. He was like, we've got to talk about, and I was like, oh, okay. Big words, big letters, exclamation points, and everything else, right? So, so then if you're really happy that he's having a bad camp, as a guy who does a lot of NFL stuff with your channel, football with cheese, you do a lot of analyzing. So then I have to ask, how much stock do you really put into a training camp?
I don't put a lot of stock in a camp if somebody's just doing amazing. Okay?
Okay.
Because Ryan Leaf had amazing camps. I'll just say that. A lot of people are good in shorts and T-shirts or in the preseason when the pressure's not on there. So if they dominate, that's great, but I don't put a lot of stock into it. But when they're really bad, that's when I get worried. Because, like I said, shorts and T-shirts, pressure is not on. It's not like you're facing crazy blitzes. You're facing the team, the defensive coordinator. You shouldn't be terrible. So that raises a red flag when it goes really bad, the way it's going for Williams.
Okay, so do you really think it's Williams, or do you think it's the players around him? I mean, has Chicago done a good enough job to surround him with good players?
That question, you should see the notes I have. I have so many notes, so I can't go over all of it. But, okay. He has had in camp accuracy issues, decision-making issues. Last year, especially, he holds the ball too long. A lot of his sacks were his fault. A lot of people criticized their offensive line last year, but I looked them up and I watched them a lot, but I also looked up the analytics. Analytics said it was a league average offensive line, which shocked me at first, but it's Caleb Williams. Half the sacks at least were his fault. He holds it too long. He's been visibly frustrated at camp when things don't go his way. He had this drill, the ball in the net drill, where you try to hit the ball in the net. He couldn't do it and then blew a hissy fit like a little baby that he is. You've seen him lay on the bench. He's done it in college and the pros, laying on the bench, being all frustrated when things aren't going. Have you seen that when he's done that?
Probably because they made things too easy for him, right?
He needed Rich Rod as his coach. Absolutely, he did. I'm serious. He really did. But they talked about, the body language. It was the body language. It's not the body language. It's the attitude. He is immature. He doesn't handle adversity well. They make excuses for the Bears. Coddle him. They make excuses for him. They made him a captain before he played a snap. That's a huge mistake because you can't take the captain away once you make him a captain. But a rookie, before he ever threw a pass, he was the captain of the team. That was so dumb. And I spent a lot of time on this issue before I even messaged you. I looked at so many Bears beat writers, Bears articles, all these Chicago local. Almost all of them are just saying, it's okay. He'll be fine. No, he's good. He's just going through, this. They're always coddling him. No one is calling him out. He's not going to make it. It's not going to work out. This is going to end in a disaster. He doesn't have it up here maturity-wise, and he's not mentally tough. It's not going to end well. You got him Ben Johnson as his new head coach, who's the best offensive coordinator in the league last year. You got him all these new offensive linemen. The offensive line should be very good. He has DJ Moore. They used a first-round pick and receiver last year. They used a second-round pick and receiver this year, a first-round pick and a tight end this year. He has all these weapons. He should be dominating his defense in camp because it's not a great defense. It's a disaster right now, and no one's talking about it. This could be just so bad for the Bears. And, I could be wrong. He could be fine and gets better because he's so talented. He's got a big arm. He's athletic. He's got all the talent in the world. But this is bad, in my opinion. And the Bears think they're going to be a contender or at least contend for the division. I don't think so. I think they're going to be last in the division yet again.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there's something we'll cut up and put out there a little bit. The Bears will be last in their division.
Yep.
So
of course, the other three teams are really good, but anyway.
Well, at least two of them are.
Sorry, Vikings. Yeah.
Okay. So how bad does Caleb Williams actually have to play for the Bears to think about moving on from him?
They're not going to move on from him. They'll give him at least a third year. This is only be a second year, assuming he plays bad. But they don't want to be wrong. The GM just got extended, so they want to admit they're wrong. So there's a lot of pressure on him. It's a big year for him, but I think he's going to be the starter next year as well. But I don't know. He just doesn't have it up here. And I mentioned this before, and I'll say it again. I had Jaden Daniels ahead of him going in the draft. I did have him second. I had Drake May third. I wish I had Drake May second, but I'll just say this, okay? I don't know if I mentioned this on this. I mentioned one of my channels. I don't think I mentioned on this podcast. Before the 2024 draft, before the combine, actually, there was a rumor that he was not the best teammate, that a lot of players at USC didn't like him, okay? He comes to the combine hearing this. He's probably advised well by his agent, and he says everything right. He said, I love my teammates, my team. I can't wait to play for the Bears, after his dad tried to not play for the Bears. Yeah. That's a whole other story. He didn't want to play for them. He says all the right things, and all these people ate it up. Oh, he's an amazing guy, great teammate. You know, they ate it up. All of a sudden, he was saying everything right. And like I said, those were rumors, but now I'm starting to believe them. And I wish the media wouldn't coddle him, like especially Chicago media, like they do.
All right, so let's wrap it up with kind of a question that's going to almost encapsulate everything that you talked about here for the last, glad we don't have a 5-minute timer on you for this segment here. But who would you?
I had a lot of notes for this segment. The rest of them, I have very little notes. We're going to go much faster.
Okay, no, you're fine, buddy. You're fine. People stick with us the entire time. They love you. I don't know about me, but they love you.
They like me as a friend.
So,
yeah.
Who would you buy stock in today that you could sell it in 3 years, knowing that you could make money? All right, so listen to the precedents here, right? Who would you buy stock in today?
Okay.
To sell it in 3 years and know that you would make money? Would you buy stock in Bo Nix, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., or Caleb Williams?
Not Caleb Williams. Absolutely not. It's funny, of those 6 quarterbacks, you could throw J.J. McCarthy and Jaden Daniels, those 6 quarterbacks drafted in the top 12. Caleb might be the worst of all of them. That'd be hilarious. He was the first pick. I haven't seen enough from Michael Penix, so I can't pick him. Bo Nix had a very good rookie year, but I'm going to pick Drake May because he played a small amount of games, 4 or 5 maybe, something like that. But he played well, and he did it with a crap offensive line and no receivers. Demario Douglas was his best receiver last year. No offense to him, but, that's not good. I think Drake May, even though he's inconsistent at UNC, why he wasn't the first or second pick, why he fell to third, I think Drake May has a chance to be special. So I'd pick him. Who would you pick?
I'm going to go against what you're saying a little bit. Not really against it, but I'm gonna look at it from a different angle. I'm with you on Drake May. I think he has a chance to be special, but the problem is I don't have a lot of faith in the Patriots to surround him with other people who are, in that same category. So, this year, I know they went out and got that one receiver from Buffalo, but he's just going to be
why.
Right? Why? And that's the guy they're hanging their hat on this year. And I wouldn't hang the tag off my hat on that guy, right? So I don't understand what they're doing. I don't really know, where that franchise is going, and I don't even know if they know where their own franchise is going, for God's sake. So I just can't pick him. I agree with you with Michael Penix Jr. I like him. I loved him in college. Yes. But he's just not done enough in the NFL for me to say, yeah, that's my guy. Now, looking at it from the precipice that I put underneath of it, which is, buying stock today to sell in 3 years, I'd be real tempted to buy his stock because his stock is going to be the lowest one out of all of those 4 guys. So, he's going to be lower than Nix, he's going to be lower than May, and he's definitely going to be lower than Williams. So if you use the, buy it now and sell it in 3 years, you know what? I am going to buy his stock. I've just convinced myself.
He was my second choice. He was my second choice, so I get it. Mm-hmm.
His will be my, that'll be the lowest stock right there. And if I want to make the most money and cross my fingers that he's gonna be pretty good in Atlanta, then you know what? Let's go Michael Penix Jr. and let's roll the dice to see what happens.
I get it. Yeah, I was picking between those two, so it makes sense.
All right. So some fantasy questions for you. Now I gotta tell you guys about this little conversation that Cheese and I had back and forth. Right? I was kind of excited. I was preparing a few things as I'm going through, and I'm like, yeah, we'll do this, and we'll talk about this, and we'll do, and I said, you know what? I better ask Cheese before I really dive into this a ton. Even though I know he's going to say yes and he's going to be okay with it. So I text him and I'm like, hey, let's do a fantasy football show. One whole show, nothing but fantasy football. Maybe have it on a Friday night or something. And yeah,
we can still do that if you really want. We can still do it.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. No, now, Cheese, why do you not want to do a fantasy football show, sir?
Well, first of all, not the main reason. First of all, the problem with I've had friends that ask me to do a fantasy football channel. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The problem with fantasy
answer
football.
The question if you'd like. I mean, that's all.
No, I'm not. I'll get there eventually. You got 20 minutes. Okay. The problem with fantasy football is it's just such a short window for the season to talk about. So I don't want to do a fantasy football channel because it's basically 6 weeks leading up to your fantasy drafts, and then that's it. You can do weekly pickups, but everyone knows who they are. Those videos are not watchable, in my opinion. The reason, to answer your question, finally, because it takes, is some of the people in my league watch this podcast and they'll know my strategy.
Selfish. He's selfish. Go ahead, sir. Keep going.
I love shellfish. You're right. I do love shellfish. Yes. Mm-hmm. But a lot of at least a few of them, people in my fantasy league are watching this and they'll know my entire strategy because, I know a lot about football. So I have a strategy for every draft and I have it already written up. If you are in a fantasy league and you're lost and you need some help, you can DM me on X at footballcheese, CHEUZ. You can message me and I will send you my notes if you'd like, if you're not in my league. So, yeah.
That's a pro move right there. Able to flip it around and still plug his site. That was a pro move right there. I got to give that
football cheese without the with. Follow me on X, and if I don't follow you back, I always get notifications. Message me, and I will follow you back.
Okay, may as well plug it one more time, right? May as well.
Yes.
So let me give you 4 just generalized questions over fantasy football that won't give any of your strategies away. Hopefully, all right. Okay. I tell you what. Let me start off with this question. It's not on the 4. Let me give you a 5th one. How many fantasy football leagues will you be in this year?
Just one. I used to do 2, and it was frustrating because I'd have a running back in this league and that and going against it. So I decided finally I'm just doing 1. So I just do 1.
Okay, just do 1. All right.
Yep.
So if you had the number 1 overall pick, is it going to be a quarterback?
No. It should be a quarterback if and only if your league scores quarterback so much higher than running back or wide receiver. I used to be in a league like that. You had to have a great quarterback or you had no chance to winning. But most leagues, quarterback score as much as wide receivers and running backs. So really, you should not draft a quarterback high at all at this point because there's 12 or 13 good fantasy quarterbacks this year. So, I mean, if people like Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff are not top 10 or going out, I mean, that's crazy. Kyler Murray, I saw a mock where he's going 11th or 12th. That's crazy. So I might wait on quarterback. I just gave away my strategy. Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah, that was the first question. I wasn't even asking you to give away strategy here, and you're doing it all. Now, why are you so mad at me now? You're the one doing it to yourself.
It's my fault.
Is it more important to get a wide receiver number one or a running back number one? And what I don't mean by number one pick, I mean, is it, a number one wide receiver and a number one running back? I should have phrased it that way.
For years, it was so much more important to have that running back, but it's in the league. The last 3 or 4 years, I'm looking at who wins the league. They had that stud wide receiver. So I think it's more important now to have that absolute stud wide receiver.
That's interesting because, the wide receivers, really and honestly, on an average, right, they probably only touch the ball, 10 times a game? Even the elite ones?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to put that much stock into a person on the football field that only touches it 10, maybe 12 times a game?
If you're in a PPR league, 1 point PPR, absolutely. Wide receiver is huge. You have to have good receivers.
So what's PPR stand for?
Point per reception. Sorry.
Point per reception.
If you get a point per reception, wide receiver in your league, you draft 3 receivers your first 4 picks. If you have PPR, that's how you win wide receiver. If you're half PPR, you get a half point. I think wide receiver and running back about even. If you are in a league with 0 PPR, so it's only yards and touchdowns, then running back should be your focus.
All right. Again, okay.
I have no idea what he said. I have no clue.
I said I got you to give away more strategy, and I was telling everybody else that they're welcome. So, all right. So,
I've lost my league now. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. It didn't take me very long either. I did that pretty quick.
Mug check. Look, Spidey. I got Spidey today.
Spidey. I saw it earlier when we were doing the Rich Rod thing, and I meant to bring it up, and I forgot. I was so enamored with Rich Rod, I forgot to bring it up earlier.
Well, they had the teaser for the new Spider-Man movie with the suit, so I thought this is appropriate. So, and they matched like orange. There you go.
All right. Which is more important? A wide receiver number 2 that's good, or your tight end being good?
I think a wide receiver too. It's a wide receiver league now in fantasy. You have to have elite wide receivers. Tight end, it's just not as valued position in fantasy it used to be. There are just not as many teams that focus on wide receiver. You don't have the Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski type offenses anymore. I just think you need to load up a receiver, and you can get a tight end late in the draft that still will put up decent numbers. So I think wide receiver too.
Okay. Last one. How many chances can you take on injured players in your draft?
One. Don't ever draft more than 1. I've done it before. You can draft like Stephon Diggs is coming off an ACL tear, or even suspended, like Jordan Addison suspended 3 games, Rashee Rice, another one, or someone who's just injury prone. You can draft one of those guys, but that's it. Don't draft anymore.
Okay, so just one.
Just one. If you draft 3 or 2 or 3, you're not going to win your league. And only draft them if they fall further than you expect. If they're supposed to go in the 6th round and you're sitting there in the 8th, they're there, that's when you take them. Don't take them where everyone expects them to go. See if they fall, because a lot of times they do.
All right, some good advice from Cheese on his fantasy football strategies, and not trying to give anything away, but we just did. Right. So when he loses his league, he'll blame me. So no big deal.
Yes.
I can take all of it. I got some broad shoulders. That's why they can't quite fit in this circle. Come over here a little bit, maybe, and they'll fit. But then I cover the logo, so I don't want to do that either.
Oh, real quick, I just want to anybody in my league watching? Yes, real quick. Anybody watching, draft all New York Jets offensive players. Good. That's how you win.
Out there.
Yeah, that's how you win.
Yeah, that's your strategy, right?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
All right. Well, let's transition. MLB 4-pitch talk. All right, so now that the trade deadline has come and gone, Cheese, 4 questions now that the trade deadline's come and gone. And, of course, we're going to do our final segment here when we do our Truth Top 10 take here. So Was it overwhelming to you, the trade deadline, or was it underwhelming?
Big time underwhelming. Probably the most underwhelming trade deadline that I can ever remember. What about you?
It was a flurry at the very end, right? I mean, there wasn't that much leading up to the trade deadline. I mean, the last 2 or 3 hours was just a feeding frenzy, and then that last half hour was absolutely crazy. It's one of those trade deadlines where you had trades coming in even after the time was up, just because it was so crazy and everybody was trying to get everything together under the wire. So that part of it was interesting. But the trade deadline itself and the overall part of it was kind of underwhelming. I had this on my notes here somewhere.
I have a theory. Do you have a theory on why it was, or?
No, not necessarily. I'm just going to say no. Let you go with your theory. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, you noticed that there were rumors, all these controllable pitchers, none of them were moved.
Only one.
Only one? Oh,
Merrill Kelly.
Who was it?
Merrill Kelly was moved from the Diamondbacks to the Rangers.
He's controllable? He's not a free agent?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, he is a free agent. So right. I get it. Controllable. Okay.
Joe Ryan, Edward Cabrera, Mackenzie Gore, none of them moved. And here's what teams are doing. Pitching is so valuable. So they're trying to get way more than, maybe the prospects they should get. Teams just don't want to trade controllable pitchers. They're so valuable, and pitchers get hurt all the time. You need pitching to win. And teams also value prospects more than ever. The Cubs really tried to get a controllable starter, but they didn't want to give up. They have 2 top 50 prospects. I'm read that they didn't want to move either one of them, and you probably have to move both to get Mackenzie Gore. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what I think they should do, it seems like it's a seller's market every year because they expand the playoff. They should move the deadline back to August 10th, in my opinion, because even the Angels were buyers. There were like 7 or 8 complete sellers. They need to move it back. We need more sellers. We need 10 or 12 sellers, not 7 or 8. So I think that's one of the biggest problems. What'd you say?
No, I said don't worry about the Angels. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. You're exactly right. They have no clue.
I mean, they started buying, and then I was like, what are they doing? What in the world are the Angels doing?
They want to go 81 and 81 every year. That's what they want to do.
It seems like it. And that's like the conversation that we had when I was asking you about the top 10 list that we're going to do, because I had one already put together. In fact, I'm actually going to reveal that here in just a little bit, of the teams that I thought did the best at the trade deadline and moved their stock up. We'll talk about those here in a few minutes. But, we ended up, when I got with you, we wanted to do the ones that we thought would go to the World Series. So that's the other list that I put together. So I actually have 2 top 10 lists, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. So what team did not do as much as you thought they were going to do? I think I know the answer to this, and I can see it in your face right now. But go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Predict. What am I going to say?
Oh, you're going to say the Cubs.
That's correct. So the Cubs. The Cubs disappointed me. They got Taylor Rogers and Andrew Kittredge for the bullpen. That's fine, but they already had guys like them, 6th, 7th inning type guys. They needed a 8th or 9th inning bullpen guy. They also needed a front end starter, and they got Michael Soroka. Here's the biggest that will go down as one of the dumbest trades ever. Soroka was down 3 miles per hour in his last start with the Nationals, and the Cubs still traded for him. And guess what? 2 innings in, he hurts his shoulder. He's on the injured list. I don't think he's ever going to pitch for the Cubs again. Jed Hoyer they just gave him a contract extension. He is an idiot. He is a complete idiot. He has a lot of good people around him, but he's a terrible GM. But anyway, the Cubs need to do more. We've talked about this in other shows. The Cubs don't have the starting pitching to win the World Series. They have a good team. They have great base running, great defense. Well, good lineup until the last 19 games. They've scored more than 5 runs once the last 19 games.
Well, I'll just give you a hint. They're not scoring 5 runs tonight. It's the bottom of the 7th, and they're down 5-1 to the Cincinnati Reds.
And the Brewers are about to beat the Braves, so they're about to be 4 back in the division. So you gave Jed Hoyer a contract extension, Rickett family. But the Cubs just, to me, are not – they don't have the starting pitching to win a World Series, and they need to go be aggressive. And you have 5 top 100 prospects. A lot of them are blocked by guys that are already there.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Give 2 or 3 of them up. Go for it. Go for a big-time pitcher, and they didn't do it. And one more team I want to mention, the Braves should have traded their pending free agents. Marcell Ozuna, Pierce Johnson, Raisel Iglesias. Their GM, Alex Anthopoulos, another guy needs to be fired. It's terrible. He says we're not just going to dump guys or to save money. Why not? You're not getting anything for them. Get what you can. Dump the money. I don't understand the Braves. What is their record? It's bad. 47-64, about to be 47-65. So those 2 teams were major disappointments. Who was your big disappointment?
I mean, I have to say the Cubs right along with you. I'm gonna kind of branch off a little bit because I don't just want to regurgitate what you just said. But I will tell you, yes, the Cubs were the team that disappointed me the most. I thought they were going to make more moves. But I also think it's interesting, a couple of things that you said, and I'm going to piggyback off of them for a moment. You said people are valuing prospects so much more now. Well, the Washington Nationals got a huge prospect haul for Juan Soto a couple years ago. You know, they've got all those guys up now pretty much. They're on their main team, and they still aren't knocking on the door of a playoff. So I'm not sure how much people really value some of these prospects, just looking at it from that particular standpoint. And then the other part of this is what the Padres did. The Padres went all in. I mean, I don't even know if they have enough players to still have a farm system. They sold so many of them. And I don't know what the score is right at the moment, but, I know they got beat by the Diamondbacks yesterday. And, if they don't win, if they don't get in the playoffs after the sell-off of their minor league players that they had, it's going to be really interesting to see how baseball moves forward from these 2 teams. Washington, a team that got a haul and still can't win, and then the Padres, the team who gave up all of their franchises down in single, double, and AAA, and have a whole bunch of great players on their 40-man roster. But if they don't win, and I mean they can't just be a wild card and be one and done. They've got to go a couple rounds in the playoffs in order for them to justify what they did, I would think.
AJ Preller, the GM of the Padres, he hates prospects. He does this all the time. He traded for Juan Soto. He doesn't care. But I will say this about the Nationals. I keep defending the Nationals here, but they were in a really bad spot a few years ago where they had no farm system and their players got older. Steven Strasburg got hurt. They were just in a bad situation. So they basically started from zero. Reminds me of the 2011, 2012 Cubs and Astros. They had nothing. It took 4 or 5 year rebuild, and they eventually won a World Series. The Nationals have a good farm system, and they do have some really good young players. So give them a couple years. They should be really good.
Okay, well, we'll revisit this in a couple of years because I'm sure both of us will still be doing this podcast. I don't know. You might not be doing this podcast. You got picked up by a national syndication there for your Packers stuff. What's that place called again, sir?
Hold on one second. Before I say it, you got a much bigger gig. If you guys don't know this, Michael Ballantyne, yes, the guy in the glasses, that guy, is the voice of Locked On Diamondbacks, the whole Locked On network. They have dozens, maybe hundreds of channels on there. He does Locked On Diamondbacks. That's a huge get for him. He does that. So make sure you check that out. Subscribe to that. But to answer your question, PackersTalk.com. That's where
that's with an S, right? Packers.
Packers with an S. And you can follow me on YouTube at Football with Cheese. And hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss my videos.
Okay, so we talked about what team we said didn't do as much as you thought they would. So what team went overboard? What team did more than you thought they would?
Houston Astros. I think had a really big deadline. Well, obviously the Padres went bigger with Mason Miller, but the Astros getting Carlos Correa, they needed some bats. They had some injuries, and they really needed help in the lineup. And they got Jesus Sanchez from the Marlins, kind of underrated trade in my opinion, and Ramon Arias from the Orioles. Isaac Paredes got hurt at third base. It's a huge hole. So getting Correa back, and the defense, Jeremy Pena and Carlos Correa on that side of the infield, that's the best shortstop third base probably defensive combination I've probably ever seen since I've been watching baseball. So I really think the Astros went all in, and they don't necessarily have like the greatest farm system. So it was amazing that they were able to get those players. What about you?
I'm gonna push back on your greatest defense on that side of the field. I mean, the Cincinnati Reds have Ellie De La Cruz and Key Brian Hayes on their side of the.
Oh, that's right. Trade for Hayes. So. That's right.
Yeah.
Hayes homered in his first game. Hayes did. So.
Correct, but he's got a 13+ WAR because of the defense that he provides. So I tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to put this up right now, just mainly because it's against Cheese's team. But there is a great play that Key Brian Hayes made. I will link it right now on the 643 and Out pod. There it is. Bottom of the 7th inning, there was no outs, and he made sure that the first one got done. Bare hands that ball and slings it across the infield. So later on when you want to go to sleep and you want to be depressed right before you do it, go ahead and watch that shot for me.
So real quick, I mentioned Andrew Kitchers, the Cubs got in the bullpen. 4 earned runs today, 1/3 of an inning, 15-something ERA with the Cubs. He gave up 4 of the 5 runs. So
the Reds' favorite player.
Better than the Yankees. They're doing better with the players they traded for the Yankees. Yankees had a game they lost like 13-12. Well, all 4 guys that they picked up had disastrous games, and they lost the Marlins. It was hilarious. If anyone saw that.
Yes, the first time the Marlins have ever swept the Yankees ever. That was great.
Yes.
Yeah, I was laughing quite some time, actually. So last week you said Seattle should go for it. Did you like the moves that Seattle made? And do you think they're going for it?
I did. They could have maybe gone after one more guy, but they had already gotten Josh Naylor. They got Eugenio Suarez, who used to be a Mariner. They kind of traded him to dump his salary at the time. And they got Caleb Ferguson, lefty reliever. He's pretty good. Maybe not great, but they needed a middle-of-the-order bat. And they went out and got him. And they're only 3 back, I believe, of the Astros. So they got a shot. So, yeah, that was the player I said they got to go get. And they did go get him.
Yeah, and what's his name again?
Suarez. Eugenio.
Eugenio.
Okay. Suarez.
Gino. You can just call him Gino. I kept telling you that last week, and you didn't take me up on my offer. But a lot of the
I'm trying.
Well, yeah, you're very trying. I mean, that's very true. But
it's a trying time.
It is. So let's talk about the Yankees for a second. Do you think the Yankees collapse coincides with Judge going on the IL?
I think they were collapsing before that. They weren't playing well. It does not help when you have a 9-10 win player. It really hurts. But they weren't playing well before that. It's been a mess this year for them. They lost the World Series, and they're just a mess. They're not gelling. They're doing a lot of things wrong at big moments and losing games because of it. So it's just a mess right there.
Well, this is what happens, in my opinion, when you just go out and try to buy everybody. You look at a stat sheet and you're like, oh, that guy's hitting pretty well. Let's go get him. Oh, that guy's hitting pretty well. Let's go get him.
Yeah.
And you get stuck with the Giancarlo Stantons of the world. I don't know why they went and got Ryan McMahon.
Jason Giambi, remember him?
We can go through and name all kinds of these players that they have gotten. The problem usually is they have enough money to bail themselves out. This year it doesn't look like they're going to have enough money to bail themselves out. So I'm going to make a prediction, the same one I made a few months ago, and everybody thought I was nuts, and I got all kinds of flack for it, especially on X. And that is the Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs this year, not even make the playoffs. So it'll be I think it'll be interesting to see. I believe it'll be Toronto and Boston that will have the better records before it's all said and done. I don't think Tampa can catch them now because they've kind of fallen off.
Yeah.
But I still think that Boston and Toronto will have the better records there and will make the playoffs before the Yankees do.
Remember Mark Teixeira? Remember they signed him? He did nothing. Yeah, Mark
Yes.
Teixeira. They do a lot of those. They sign guys.
Alex Rodriguez,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't say he didn't do anything, but he didn't live up to that contract, and he tried so hard. Yeah,
when they extended the second time, that was a disaster for them. Yes, but you're right. Like I said, they just kept throwing money at everybody else. But Jason Giambi and Mark Teixeira were never the same once they signed there. They were no.
All right, so the Yankees, as I mentioned earlier, they were swept by the Marlins over the weekend in a 3-game series. So let me ask you this, Cheese: does that say more about the Yankees or more about the Marlins?
I'll say this. The Marlins are better than expected. I got to give them credit. Even with Alcantara not having a great year, Sandy Alcantara, former Cy Young Award winner, the Marlins are playing pretty good. But I think it says more of the Yankees. Aaron Boone doesn't know what to do. A lot of fans want him fired. You can blame him a little. It's not all his fault, but
no,
he looks lost. You can just see his facial expressions. You can see him. He doesn't know what to do. So I think it says a little more about the Yankees. What about you?
Well, I mean, just like the other night, right? So they go out and they get Devin Williams from Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. I wish I could find the stat. Devin Williams, and I believe I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, but I'm going to get close here. You know what? I'm going to try to look it up while
I was about to look it up, but you can go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, it's over. I know it's on our site here at the 643 and Out Pod. Give me 2 seconds to get to where I need to get to, and I can find it pretty quick here. No, don't be playing stuff. There we go. I mean, I like to hear myself talk, but not that much. So, oh man, and by the way, while I'm looking for that, I will throw this out there as well. Today is the anniversary, by the way, if you didn't know, of oh my gosh, no, I lost his name too. This is a terrible segment.
It's great. It's the best shit we ever done. Language.
Yes. Ramirez, there we go. Ramirez knocked down Anderson 2 years ago today, if you remember the fight between Cleveland and the Chicago White Sox.
Yes.
It's over on our page as well. Maybe it's going to take me a little longer to get to it than I thought, or maybe I've already passed it and I was doing some other stuff here. But there's something to the effect of, Williams, when he was with Milwaukee, gave up like 46 earned runs, I believe, when he was the entire time he was with Milwaukee, and he's already given up 46 earned runs since he's been with the Yankees just this season.
Yeah.
So I mean, that might not be exact, but that's pretty close to what it was.
48 earned runs in 6 seasons. Okay.
Oh, you got it right there?
40. Yeah, I found it. 48 earned runs in 6 seasons for the Brewers. He lit 26 runs already this year. 24 earned. So 48 in 6 years, half of that earned already this year, let alone the entire year.
Right. That's our buddies over at Codify.
Crazy.
At Codify Baseball, if you want to go over and look, they got a bunch of great stuff. So Devin Williams allowed 24 earned runs in his last 145 games with the Brewers, and he's allowed 24 earned runs in his first 46 games as a Yankee. That's just a crazy stat, and that's just kind of how. Yeah. Do what now?
It's just more pressure in New York. It's more pressure to be a Met or Yankee. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, but that's just how everything's going this year for the Yankees. And to be honest with you, it couldn't happen to a nicer team. So, yeah.
You don't seem too upset about this.
No, I am not. I do like Aaron Boone, though. He used to be a Cincinnati Red, big Reds, big Diamondbacks guy. So I'll ask you this. Do you think Aaron Boone is going to be managing the Yankees in the final game of this season?
Yeah, I don't think they'll get rid of him. At the end of the season, they might, but not before then. What do you think? Do you think he'll make it?
They've got to blame somebody.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was a kid, I heard this from my uncle. Well, you know, he's a big baseball guy too. I love you, Bill. I know you're probably listening. He always said to me, it's much easier to fire one than 25. So you know, they blame the manager and they fire him because you've got to hold somebody accountable. So if they don't make the playoffs, and if it's going to be like the last week of the season and it's already decided that they're not going to win the playoffs, I think just to appease the fans, they may fire Aaron Boone there right before the end of the season. Just my opinion. You sent this over to me. I wanted to talk about this a little bit here as we do our last piece on MLB 4-pitch talk before we get to our Truth Top 10. And here it is. According to Bob Nightingale, GMs say that it's hard to deal with Craig Breslow of the Red Sox. So I've got a few questions for you here. And this is based more on kind of I'll admit this is based more on kind of my attitude and how I look at things than what it is anything else. So I'm using this almost as a personal example, especially in the first responder realm and stuff that I live and work in. So just kind of precedent and everything with that. So when Bob Nightingale says it's really hard to deal with Craig Breslow and the rest of the Red Sox, is it because they love their players too much? I mean, shouldn't you as a GM love your players and want as much for them as you can get?
I think Craig Breslow is the general manager of the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been there two, maybe 3 years. He values their prospects, from what I read, as much as anyone. He does not like giving up prospects.
Mm-hmm.
So when he tries to do a deal with someone, he wants to come out on top. He's not going to give up what he thinks is a fair deal. He wants to win the trade. That is what I read. You know, this is not a fact. It's a rumor, and it pisses people off. All the GMs know each other, right?
Yeah.
And they know you have to give a little. Everyone, okay, I'll say this. If you don't know how trades work, 98% of the time when you talk to someone about a trade, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing comes of it. You exchange, I'm interested in this player. Okay, what are you thinking? Here's what we'd offer. Then you go back and forth. And every GM knows you got to give a little. Okay, you're offering our third best prospect and our number 10, right? Well, we want number 2 and number 5, and we want these two guys. But you give a little either way. That's how you get a trade done. You have to give a little, and apparently Breslow does not. It's my way or the highway. Like, I'm not giving up this. You can accept this or not. So they don't like dealing with him. This is from what I read.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to give him some credit. I mean, you know, they've got a lot of players on their team right now that are homegrown talent, right? Brian Bello is there. You know, I'm taking a look here. You got Campbell. You've got Marcelo Mayer is there. I mean, that's another homegrown guy. Jared Duran.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to blame them for not wanting to part with their people. No one knows your people like you do. They've come up through your system. You know, they have done what you have asked them to do. You've been able to look at them. You've been able to monitor them. You know what injury history they have. I mean, you know all of that stuff. So why would you give up a bunch of your own good prospects just to get somebody else's prospects? And you got to cross your fingers and hope that their medicals are right.
Because the Red Sox are a wildcard team right now. They're close to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't make any moves. A lot of people were just trashing them.
Oh, they made a move.
What did they do?
They got rid of Rafael Devers. They got rid of the cancer inside their locker room.
Well, they traded for Garrett Crochet. They did give up some prospects. They traded for in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, they were a top 5 farm system for sure. I mean, they were loaded. Mm-hmm. So they could. But, yeah, it seems like Breslow didn't want to give up anything else. That was our trade for the year. And so, yeah, they could have gone out and made moves. And I get why he didn't, though. I don't know if they're a true contender. I didn't even put him in my top 10, by the way. So I get why he didn't. But if no one likes to deal with you, you're not going to get anything done in the future. So he probably has to change his approach.
I don't know. We'll go through these questions here, and we'll get a little bit more detail on it. But at the same point, you know, so you've got the Chicago Cubs, right? wouldn't you be really happy right now if the Cubs get it? Because you said earlier, oh, we've got, I think 4, I believe, top 50 prospects. And you're like, oh, we're keeping them all. Most of them are blocked. So wouldn't you have been happy if the Cubs would have given up 2 or 3 of them to get Garrett Crochet on their team? And, now we're probably not having some of these conversations that we are with the Cubs.
I would love Garrett Crochet. They actually tried to get him.
Not hard enough.
They were heavily involved. But here is my theory on the Cubs.
Okay.
They have 5 top 100 prospects, 2 top 50. Their top prospect is Owen Casey. He is a right fielder, a left-hand hitting right fielder who is too good for AAA, needs to be in baseball, but he's blocked by Kyle Tucker, who the Cubs traded for in the offseason. Shouldn't have. They gave up a ton. They're not going to re-sign him, let's be honest. They're not going to re-sign him. He's going to end up in the Dodgers.
Think so?
No, he's going to end up in the Dodgers. But
they have to re-sign him for what they gave up for him.
No. Oh, I know. Give up Cam Smith, one of the best prospects in baseball. Dumb.
Yes.
But Jed Hoyer is an idiot. He's a terrible general manager. The Cubs media, just like the Bears media protect Caleb Williams, they'll protect Jed Hoyer. So they trade for Kyle Tucker. He's gone. He's going to play for the Mets, Dodgers, Yankees. We all know this. They'll give him $500 million. That's why they couldn't trade Owen Casey. They need him to play right field next year. Left-hand hitting right fielder. That's their best prospect. That is my theory, is why they didn't make a big move, is they have to keep him just in case. Can you imagine trading Owen Casey, who's top 30, 40 prospect in baseball, trading him somewhere and he ends up being rookie of the year next year, and Kyle Tucker ends up being like an MVP for another team, and you don't have a right fielder. So that is my theory why they didn't make a big move, because that's the prospect everyone's going to want when you call the Cubs.
Well, of course, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the number 1 guy, right? But what if they could have traded him and got Mackenzie Gore?
Then they should do it. They should have done it, because they needed Justin Steele. If you don't know, Justin Steele is their best starting pitcher. He's out for the year, and that is really been their biggest problem. They don't have a front end of the number 1 or 2 starter type guy, and Mackenzie Gore would have been that. If they never trade for Kyle Tucker, then Owen Casey would be the right fielder right now. He'd be playing. Like I said, he's too good for AAA. He should have been called up a while ago, but they should have gone. If they were serious about this year, they should have gone after a starting pitcher, but they didn't.
Sorry. Oh, man.
I'm putting you, all this Cubs is putting you to sleep.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah. I'm sorry.
It's the Cubs' fault. It's Jed Hoyer and the Cubs' fault. It's not your fault, Mike.
Some people, I consider myself this way, and I can't wait for these comments. If we don't get comments about this from the people that I work with that are listening to us right now, then they've stopped listening to us, because here we go, right? Okay. Some people are just straightforward, no bones, no sugar on top, no coating, no just smack you in the face with it. And what if Craig Breslow is that way, and people just don't like that? Because I'll be honest with you, most people don't like it. I tell people all the time, don't ask me what I think about you, because you're probably not going to like the answer. So is that the reason maybe you think that Craig Breslow was looked at the way he is right now in the circles of MLB?
I don't know. He actually came from the Cubs organization, so
that's why I was asking, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd love to be in that room and see how he handles things, but I just think he decides, I'm only making trades if it benefits us. If I think we've won. Maybe it's an ego thing. I don't know, but
that's what you want your general manager to say, right? I only want to make trades we win.
True, but you're not going to always. You're not going to make most trades, because there are some bad GMs that will give you too much, but most of them won't. So eventually you're not going to be able to make any moves. I'm not saying he should lose a trade, but at least like a fair, like I said, when you do trades, it's exchanged back and forth, and usually both sides give a little. So it just sounds like he doesn't want to give any. But we'll see.
But they do seem to get deals done and deals worked out anyway. Nobody knew a thing about this Rafael Devers thing. They did that like the secrets of the night between them and the Giants, and we all woke up one day and everybody was like all upset about it except for me, and I thought it was a fantastic move, and I still think it's a fantastic move, and I think nobody wants to talk about it now because nobody thought it was a fantastic move, but a few of us. And
it was, and they wanted that money gone. That's
addition by subtraction, right?
They wanted his contract gone, and the Giants took it on. So
now I will say this about the Giants. I'm disappointed in the Giants a little bit. And in fact, I'm disappointed in the Giants a lot of bit. When the Giants come to Arizona, I will look and will make sure that if Justin Verlander is pitching for the Giants when they come here to Arizona, I will go watch that game. I was disappointed that the Giants didn't trade Justin Verlander and try to get him to a contender so that where he could try to win a ring. I know he's won a couple with Detroit back in the day, but 42 years old, still throwing the dog snot out of the ball. What are you doing that for?
He won with Detroit. He won with Houston.
I thought he won with Detroit too. Now
I don't remember Detroit winning a World Series. I've never seen Detroit win a World Series. I could be wrong, but I don't remember the Tigers ever winning World Series.
Okay, I'll look
he won
it
with the Astros, and he pitched brilliant. He had 6 shutout innings. I remember that game. He won with the Astros.
Maybe it was the Astros that I was thinking of. I'm sure one of our fantastic fans out there that's got their
I don't remember the Tigers
keyboards right now.
Detroit Tigers, have they ever won a World Series? At least not that I remember.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong every once in a while. Okay. Now you're looking it up, aren't you?
I am.
Okay. So the last point that I'll make on this before we get to our truth top 10 here is that it takes 2 to tango, right? If there's a bunch of GMs that are saying, "Oh, we don't like Craig Breslow and he doesn't make good deals and all this kind of stuff," well, then don't call him. I don't know if you saw it. I thought this was interesting. I did see this to where the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees have traded back and forth so many times. I don't have the stat in front of me, but they have traded back and forth a lot. And the Yankees have taken advantage of most of those deals because they have got younger, Garrett Coles and stuff like that of the world.
Jameson,
and the people,
Tyon, there's so many.
The people that Pittsburgh has gotten back has not been very good, but yet they continue to make trades with them. Is that just because those two GMs like each other, or those two franchises like each other, or the two owners like each other, and if that's the case, and one team keeps getting ripped off, why do you keep doing it?
They didn't seem to get much for David Bednar. So
no.
The Pirates, this is the way they do it. It's why they stink all the time. We're not good, so we'll just trade the players that are going to be a free agent next year or the year after and get whatever the other team's offering. And they don't. The biggest problem with the Pirates is they don't develop players. They don't have a good minor league system in place, especially bats. They do not develop bats.
Right.
They develop pitching, but they don't develop any bats. They always have, but they don't develop bats. And they've got to figure that out. Like Ke'Bryan Hayes, who was just traded to the Reds, hopefully he's hitting better with the Reds, but he should be a lot better hitter than he is. He didn't develop. There's just so many top 100 prospects that are bats for the Pirates because they always have great prospects because they always picking high and they always make trades, but they just don't develop.
Well, but then that also tells us how poorly managed they are, right? If they got a bunch of good pitchers, then that means you just go out in free agency and pay for the bats.
But they don't.
Right, but they don't. It's really that simple, though, right? It really is.
Yeah.
So it's just how poorly that organization is run. All right, so I do have a little bit of the stats for you. I put these down as far as the trade deadline because now we're going to do our truth top 10.
Real quick, 1984 is the last time the Tigers won the World Series. They made a World Series and lost to the Giants when Verlander and Scherzer were there.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the update.
You're welcome.
So a total of 97 prospects were traded. Stop smiling so big because you were right. A total of 97 prospects were traded, and 59 of those prospects immediately showed up in the other team's top 30. So there were a lot of prospects traded during the trade deadline, just not a lot of big-time players. The Diamondbacks traded away 4 guys and got 9 prospects for 4 people. So, just to use that as an example. And then, the trade around here that got everybody talking was the fact they traded Shelby Miller and oh man, now I lost his name too. The pitcher that hasn't pitched for them for a good while, and then they made Milwaukee take his part of his contract and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Do you remember when they traded for Shelby Miller and gave up Dansby Swanson and more? But anyway, that was a long time ago. Yeah. Bless you.
Thank you.
Anyway.
They could have had Bregman in the beginning, and they decided not to. I mean, there's so many teams that have done so many things.
I still can't believe they gave Dansby Swanson that trade. But it was great for the Braves.
Not bad.
Great.
So like I said, I made 2 lists, and my lists are a little different because let me give you the 10 people that I put up here when you first texted this over to me, and I thought you were saying the ones that have made the most moves and have now put themselves in position to get into the playoffs. That was the first top 10 list I made. So I'll give that to you here real quick, and then we'll do the real one that are going to get to the World Series, okay? So I like what the Marlins did, even though they did nothing. They didn't break up that team. They said to them, okay, you guys have improved over the last few weeks. We like where this team's going, so we're just going to stand pat and see what happens. I kind of like the fact that the Marlins did that, so I put them at number 10. The Brewers didn't do a whole lot, so that's why I put them down at number 9. The Royals the same way, but they're pretty far out of it. They did make a few moves. Put them at number 8. The Astros at 7 because they made some moves, but they're already in first place, so I'm not sure how much more you can ask them to do. The Mets were there at number 6. The Rangers, I thought, by getting Merrill Kelly, really made a really smart move. He was the one that won the only game for the Diamondbacks when they faced off against each other 2 years ago. I think the Rangers remembered that, saw that, said, hey, that's the guy we want on our team, so they went out and got him. I thought the Reds really made 2 or 3 really good moves as far as that part goes. I put them at number 4. The Mariners, who you said had to go for it, I put them at number 3 because I think they did go for it. And I will make this prediction now. The Mariners will win the American League West. They will come back and they will overtake the Astros. The Mariners winning the AL West. You heard it here on the Sportz Truth first. Phillies are at number 2. I saw where their reliever that got suspended, Oviedo, I believe, however his last name is pronounced. He came back today and was very remorseful. And then, of course, you have to put the Padres at number 1 because, like I said, they gave up like 3 farm teams just to get the players that they have now. And, they're talking about making Mason Miller the closer for the A's. They're talking that next year they're going to stretch him out and make him a starter.
I kind of want to see that.
Yeah?
Yeah, why not? Why would I not want to see it? I mean, yeah. He throws 103, 104 as a reliever. He'll throw 100, 101 as a starter. Who doesn't want to see that? I like watching Paul Skeens. I love watching him pitch. Why not?
Why not, right? I don't know. I just think, why are you changing it? If he's successful at what he's doing, why are you changing it?
Oh, I wouldn't, but I want to see it.
I mean, that's like O'Neal Cruz, right? One of the better shortstops in the league, playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and all of a sudden they said, you know what, we're a really poor run agency. Let's just put him in center field.
It's the Pirates.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you have to say, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this top 10 list. The Truth Top 10 is coming up right now. Let's get some music in the background. What do you say? I think everything goes better with music, so let's do it, right? All right. We'll make the World Series, and we're going to start at number 10. I'll go first because I'm going to give you an American League team that I talked about in my other list. I really like the fact that they went out and got one more good starting pitcher, and that would be number 10 for me is the Texas Rangers.
Okay, just so we're clear, this is the top 10 contenders. So we think have the best chance to win the World Series.
Yes.
Okay. My number 10, and the Rangers just missed me. My number 10 is the New York Yankees. I have them at 10. I tried to keep them off the list. I just couldn't because there is a still talented roster. But I moved, but they're all way at 10. So Yankees, number 10 for me. Do you have the Yankees in their top 10 at all? Well, we'll see.
No,
we'll
I do not.
Oh, you don't? Okay. There you go.
I do not. Number 9. This is the team that, man, we said this on last week's show. Why don't they ever do anything? they're right now they'd have, I believe, the best record in the National League. They're the Milwaukee Brewers, and I've got them all the way down to number 9 because they really didn't do anything to strengthen their chances to get any further. And I have never understood this. I'm sorry if you're a Milwaukee Brewers fan. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mitch.
Well, no, I mean. Plus, Jackson Chourio and Jacob, what is that pitcher's name? Mizorowski?
Mizorowski, I believe.
They're hurt, too. That's funny. I actually had the Brewers higher than you. I thought I had the Brewers really low. But I have the Brewers higher than you. My number 9 is the Chicago Cubs. I'm a Cubs fan, but I could not put them higher than 9 because they don't have the starting pitching. Like I said, I think they're a very likely team that goes one and done in the postseason because they run into a better pitching staff.
Well, I put the Cubs next at number 8 only because I think we're going to get past the Milwaukee Brewers, and I don't. And, I'd
love to see that series.
Yeah, I'm a Diamondbacks and Reds guy, and I know the Reds made some moves. I don't even have the Reds in the top 10. I couldn't put them in there. So
I thought about it. I
did too.
They've been playing better.
I thought about being a homer, and I decided not to. I was raised outside of Cincinnati for the majority of my life, and I came close, but I just couldn't do it and still call myself a decent podcaster. So I said no.
Well, they're going for the sweep of the Cubs tomorrow, so maybe I should have put them in there. My number 8 is the Milwaukee Brewers, and I thought that was low, but like you said, they didn't make a lot of moves, and it's the Brewers. Anyone watching, the Brewers typically make the playoffs. They're usually a good team, but they never hardly ever make it past the first round. They always go one and done. And it's hard to trust them, especially that they didn't make any major moves. So I have the Brewers at number 8.
Yes. So, I'm looking at the wild card standings right now. So in the National League, the way it would go right now, Brewers, Dodgers, Phillies would win the 3 divisions. And then the wild card teams would be the Cubs, the Mets, the Padres, and then the only other National League team that I think is really in this race are the Cincinnati Reds. And they're 3 games back of that final wild card spot.
Cardinals aren't doing crap.
No, the Cardinals won't do it. The Giants won't do it. Watch the Marlins sneak up there and do something crazy because they're next in line at 55 and 57. So, I mean, if you don't believe us as far as the Giants and the Cardinals fallen out, the Giants' record in their last 10 is 3-7, and the Cardinals is one better at 4-6. So everybody else in that top part there has at least a 5-5 record. Would actually be your Cubs, so we're at that point. So, yeah. Okay, so for me, Rangers, Brewers, Cubs, number 7. Team that did a little bit better with their bullpen, but I just think they needed another hitter or two, and they didn't go out and do that. And you can't tell me they didn't have the money to go out and do that. The New York Mets, for me, are at number 7.
Okay, I have them a little higher. So I actually have number 7. I have the Houston Astros. They, like I said, made some moves. They needed some bats, and they got them. And they have 2 really good starting pitchers, and their bullpen is outstanding. So Astros, I don't think they're a perfect team, but, I think 7, that's a fair place for them.
All right. So once again, Rangers, Brewers, Cubs, Mets. For me, number 6 is real close to yours. I put the Astros at number 6. I think they have a little bit better bullpen because of Josh Hader at the end. So I trust him a lot. And I think that the Astros have a pretty good amount of bats, and they've done all this with the most people on the IL of any team in baseball right now. And once they start getting some of their players back, it's just going to strengthen that team, and they're going to make a charge for the playoffs. But again, I'm still going to stick with it. I still think Seattle's going to overtake them and win that division. So they'll be later on in my camp.
I didn't put the Mariners in the top 10, actually. But
didn't put the Mariners in the top 10.
I did. I can only pick 10. The Rangers and Mariners were like the 11, 12. They didn't make it. So I'm going to have a team on. I guess I'm going to have a team on here that you don't have. But number 6, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. Still a great team. Maybe not, the best. I didn't have them top 5, but Phillies pretty much every year are a contender.
All right, so my number 5 team is the team that went all in. San Diego Padres are my number 5.
Okay.
But I want to preference this. I don't necessarily think they will, but in order to justify what they did at the trade deadline, I think they got to go more than just making it to the playoffs. They've got to win at least a series and get themselves to the next round of the playoffs.
Okay. Number 5, I have the New York Mets because I think they did a really good job. The bullpen was a question, and they went out and they improved it. And the Mets, they were a Final Four team last year. I think people, no one really talks about that, but number 5, New York Mets.
All right. So for me, I put the Padres at 5, and a lot of these things we're not far off, which I think is kind of interesting. But so you had the Phillies, I believe, at 5. I put the Phillies at 4.
I had it at 6. Yeah.
I put the Phillies.
Okay.
Phillies at 4 because I really like what they did with Duran. That's what they needed was a reliever, and they went out and got what they needed, and they gave up a couple of really good prospects in order to go out and do it too. So, interesting move by them. They knew what they needed, and they went out and did it.
That's like the really good move that kind of fell on the radar because everyone talk about Mason Miller, was the big reliever, but yeah, Duran was a really good move for them. They needed a closer. Number 4, I have the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers, the first 6-7 weeks looked like the best team in baseball. They've been kind of okay since then. So even though they're really good, it's a very good roster. I just could not put them in the top 3. I just don't think they've been as good the last month and a half, 2 months.
Okay. So let me give you all the other teams, and then I'll start in the top 3 here. So Rangers were 10, Brewers were 9, then Cubs, then Mets, Astros at 6. My number 5 team was the Padres. I put the Philadelphia Phillies at 4, and the team that you're not even going to have in your top 10 because you've already said no.
Yeah.
The Seattle Mariners for me are number 3. I really like the moves that they made.
You really like the Mariners.
I do. I really like the moves that they made. They got Josh Naylor. They got Eugenio Suarez. And they put some bats in there. And you and I both know, everybody out there that follows baseball, even half, knows that they've always had the pitching. They've just needed the offense. Kind of like the Phillies have always had the offense, and they needed a bullpen piece or two. The Phillies did what they needed at number 4, and I believe the Mariners did what they needed. And because they did it twice with 2 hitters, I put them a spot ahead of them at number 3.
All right, cool. So my top 10 so far. Number 10, I had the New York Yankees,
Okay.
Mike's favorite team.
Yes.
At 9, I had the Chicago Cubs. 8, Milwaukee Brewers. At number 7, the Houston Astros. Number 6, the Philadelphia Phillies. Number 5, the New York Mets. Number 4, the Detroit Tigers. My number 3 is the Toronto Blue Jays. I love this Blue Jays team. They didn't get off to the best start. A lot of guys didn't really play well till June, and they just took off. And they're currently leading the AL East. I think they're going to win it and probably get a bye. And I think, watch out for the Blue Jays. They're a loaded team.
All right. So I saw, and this is over on our site at the 643 and Out Pod. I think I can put it up here on the camera close enough where everybody can see it. I wanted to show you, the Yankees have always said they're not going to do City Connect uniforms, but they just came out with their City Connect uniform. I saw they finally gave in and they did it. Here, let me see if I can. There you go. That's the new New York Yankees City Connect uniform right there. So, anyway. Yeah. All right, so Mariners for me were at number 3.
If anyone didn't see, that was a garbage can because New York City is garbage, I guess is what he meant.
Absolutely. Let's trace the reef back to a cesspool. Anyway, so my number 2 team. They did make a couple of small moves. They made a couple moves with the Orioles and things like that. They got themselves some back-end pitching help, which is basically all they really needed. And I believe they solidified themselves a little bit more to get there. And both of my teams at 1, 2, and 3 both of my teams at 1, 2, and 3. Really, I'm better at math than that, people. I really am. So my top 3 teams are all American League teams, and that's done on purpose because the American League is much weaker this year, I believe, than what the National League is. So I think any of these American League teams would be able to get to the playoffs a lot better and faster and easier than would some of these National League teams. So 3rd was the Mariners, 2, the Detroit Tigers.
Okay, I know who your number 1 is going to be. So my number 1, I don't think you even picked them on this list, so that's crazy. But my number 2 is the San Diego Padres. They gave up a ton to get those but the Padres are loaded. There was a rumor they were going to trade Dylan Cease. There was a rumor they were going to trade Suarez, their closer. So glad they didn't, because once you make those moves they made, just go for it. Just try to win it all. And
yeah, you may as well.
I may as well. I think the Padres right now, I have the number 2. I think they're absolutely loaded, and I do not want to face them in the postseason.
All right. So that's what you did. Hang on, I'll do this in a second.
My number 1, you didn't even put it.
That's gonna be wild. I can't wait to hear who this is, and I really can't wait to hear your reaction behind it.
I know your number 1's going to be.
So who's my number 1?
Toronto.
Yes, Toronto. 66-48, the Toronto Blue Jays. And I tell you why I did this. Because I love the move they pulled off with Cleveland. Shane Bieber is a horse.
Justin's cousin?
Yes, Justin's cousin.
Okay.
He's going to come in there, and I don't know if you saw it, but he did another rehab start, I believe, yesterday, and pitched really well. Man, he's going to make a heck of a difference for them. I don't know. We talked about it earlier. You talked about it especially, where it's like, okay, none of these teams really went after starting pitching, or the starting pitching was too expensive to get. Well, that's not the case for the Toronto Blue Jays. They went out and they got a really good starter, and I think that's what's going to push them over the top, is having that really good starter. So my top 10 were Rangers, Brewers, Cubs, Mets at 7, Astros at 6, then 5 Padres, 4 Phillies, and my top 3 All-American League teams, Mariners, Tigers, Blue Jays. Go ahead, sir. Give us your number 1, and then rattle off that whole list for us as we say goodbye.
The Cubs were in on Bieber as well. Of course, they didn't get him. Of course. I'll just do the top 10 real quick. First, 10 Yankees, 9 Cubs, 8 Brewers, 7 Astros, 6 Phillies, 5 Mets, 4 Tigers, 3 Blue Jays. Number 2 is the Padres. And number 1, just not that I want this, it's just going to happen. It happened last year. They're going to get healthy. They're going to be somehow they're going to go far. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oh. Somehow they're going to get healthy, and they're going to be they're going to play well. Mookie Betts will start playing better. They have Freddie Freeman. It's just, I could not put the Dodgers not number 1. They won it all last year. They're going to figure it out somehow. I have the Dodgers as the number 1 contender, and they have, I believe, the best odds in Vegas to win the World Series.
Okay.
Are you okay?
No.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. So the Mariners are going to take over the Astros, and the Padres are going to come up, and they're going to overtake the Dodgers too. And they're going to knock the Dodgers completely out of the playoffs. You wait and see.
I hope I'm wrong, but that's funny. My number 1 is not. Your number 3 is not on my list, so that's
funny stuff. All right, buddy. So let's get this ending music going here. All right, that means it's about time to go. We are almost at the 2-hour mark. We've had a lot of people on with us, a lot of comments, especially in the beginning of the show. We appreciate all of those. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Cheese, you got anything else you want to add? I mean, I'm sure you want to plug all your stuff at least one more time, right?
I don't think I plugged my stuff at all tonight. I can't remember doing that, but yeah. Follow me. YouTube channel. Check it out. I cover college football, NFL, big focus NFL draft. So it's at Football with Cheese. You can see it on the screen. Cheese is CHEEZ. My X is Football Cheese, basically without the with. And you can check out my articles on Packers with an S, packerstalk.com. And Michael, where can we find you?
Well, again, just like yourself, we make that real obvious for everybody there at the bottom of the screen. It's scrolling across there. 643 and Out, guys, is where you can see everything. We put that up on YouTube, 643 and Out Pod. We'll put it up on Facebook, again, 643 and Out Pod. And just to keep everything uniform, that's the X spot. You can find it as well, the 643 and Out Pod. So the letters 643, the word and spelled out, and then EOD. You can also find me doing, of course, every day, Monday through Friday. I've now got the gig for Locked On Diamondbacks. If you're a big Diamondbacks fan, or even just a good baseball fan, come over and see us. We'll take a half hour of your life and make you fall in love with the Diamondbacks if you're not a fan of them before it's all said and done. So both of us really appreciate all of you guys being with us today. Cheese, I know you plugged yourself. You got anything else that you want to add about anything that we've talked about today?
Yes, let's talk about Caleb Williams again. How terrible he is. I'm just kidding. No, it's a fun show. This is our quickest show, so
It is.
Yeah, we were. I guess I didn't talk enough. Maybe I need to talk more.
Well, let's not go that far, okay? Put a timer on you for every question from now on. That's what I'm going to do. So
there's going to be a countdown right above my head.
Right, there'll be a countdown right up
I
there.
got to make all these points. Oh no.
It'll be one of those things.
But I just want to.
He always points up like this, and he puts his little videos up there in the top of the YouTube. I'm going to put 2 clocks up there now. One that'll have the minutes, one that'll have the seconds on it. We'll have them thing counting down the entire time. So.
Let's do it. One more baseball team we should have mentioned is the Colorado Rockies. Are they going for the worst record of all time? They're 30-82. So good luck, Rockies. You can do it.
We have faith in you.
Yes.
We have a faith that's a mile long in you. So yes. Oh man, terrible dad joke.
I got that.
Yeah, that means you're a terrible dad person.
It's a high up stadium. It's very high.
Yes. All right, guys. Once again, thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate you. If you have any comments for us, anything you'd like for us to cover, let us know. We will do our best to do that. Cheese, I want to ask you to do something for me on your channel.
Okay.
The next thing that you do football-wise, can you give us a little college football? I mean, you've done a lot of NFL. Can you throw something up there that gives us a taste of college football, please?
Yeah, I was gonna kind of wait till the season started, but now the rankings are out. I can do something. I was kind of waiting for the top 25, so maybe I'll analyze the top 25. We'll see. But college is more. I usually more react on the channel. We did big emphasis on the playoff. We did tons of videos on that. So yeah, I'll do a college football one this week.
All right, sounds good. I am looking forward to it. So we're also going to do a couple other things here as well on the channel. You'll see them come out soon. I'm preparing the thinking outside the batter's box like I did last week with Ryan Sandberg. I got a lot of positive stuff off of that, so I appreciate that. And of course,
awesome.
The last thing that we always say, as we bid you all farewell. The only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening, everyone. Appreciate you all.